Hello, everyone. It's Alissa, and I'm just here to do our Q&A on box building today. So I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes to get in, get settled. My dog decided he's going to start barking just as I have Facebook Live getting ready to go. So that's always pleasant, and I'm going to go get him to stop barking. So hang on a second. Stay right there. All right, dude, stop barking. Oh, always when I have a Facebook Live, does my dog decide he has to bark at something outside. I don't know what's going on out there, but he's all over the place. Anyway, we're talking about box building today. This is our Q&A, first one of many sessions to come. There's been so many new people that have joined the group. And I think even for some of the people that have been around for a while might not know about some of the resources that we have built into the group. And a lot of people are ready to start building their box. Some people have built, some people have been shooting for years already. Other people are just starting out. So, you know, we have a nice balance of people in this group. And I wanted to do two things. One is I'm going to show you where some of these resources are. And today's Q&A is only going to be focused on building a box and answer some questions. And I'm actually going to open up my Facebook page so I can see the questions that you guys might have. I have my handy dandy iPad. And so I'd like to go open up and see that way, if you guys ask some questions, we can answer them. And I also have a very special guest appearance today, the man who built my box. So that way I figured there's a lot of technical questions that you may have that I could not tell you because I didn't build it. My builder, AKA my husband, built the box. So he's here as our special guest star. And he's going to come on in a couple of minutes. And when you guys are ready to ask some questions, if there are any questions, and he can also just give some information about the box, about building the box. So, okay. So just give me one more second, please. All right, I found it. So I have my iPad here, so I'll be able to field questions from anybody if they don't pop up. So, you know, just use the comments to ask questions as we go. I'm going to flip my screen for 1 second, and I'm going to show you where our resources are. So the first thing that's really important to know is that we have units in our group. All right. And I'm going to share the screen. And I'm going to flip over to our Facebook page and go to, if you see here, I'm on Facebook, and I've got our group. This is our group, right? And here it is. Here's the live. And here is the units, okay? So if you're on the computer, and you look to the left, right under discussion is the word units. This is where we have a plethora of information, all right? Lots and lots of information for you. In the units, some of it is just information that I put in there. Others are posts or Facebook Live demos that we might have done in the group. Others are posts that have some really good comments in there that we might want to refer back to. So we've got the group rules. We have information about getting the freebie. We have, as I'm doing the Facebook Live demos, it's going to be posted into this unit. And then we have a couple of units on building the box, built on photographing people, more photographing people, editing the box, cardboard tutorials, Photoshop resources, pricing the box shoots. And this is all still growing, of course. Natural light shooting, lighting, camera and lens discussions, print prep, how to remove metadata, just interesting, just things that we need. So let's just head on right on over to the building the box. All right. So this unit talks about building the box. Now, there are a bunch of different ways that we can make a box. The way that, I'm just going to stop for 1 second. The way that my husband made the box is that he did it from scratch, and I'm going to pop him on right now. And then at the very end of this, we're going to go back to the units and look at some of the other ways and the resources that we have there. So I'm going to invite my husband to the stream. Hello there, Michael Rosenberg, or Belly Jelly Gummy Bear, as apparently he would like to be known as on Facebook group. So this is Michael. And he is my builder extraordinaire, but also my husband. And so he graciously said he would come home from work for a little while so that he could be on this Facebook Live with us. So if anybody has any questions as he's going, I asked him to come on so that he can describe how he built the box and the materials that he used. Okay, so we have somebody who asked, how long did it take you to build the box? That was a question. I'm not sure who asked it yet because it doesn't show up on my yard, but it'll come.
It's a fair question. If you have all the material in place, I can't imagine even a novice would take more than 2 or 3 hours. If you have someone to help you, that time will be cut dramatically in half. So 2 or 3 hours all by yourself, or maybe an hour if you have all the material and all the tools ready and set to go to manage and complete that box.
So I guess let's just break it down. What were the materials that we used to build the box?
The base materials were 2x4s to make the frame that people sit on, along with 2x4s for the legs, and then a very similar frame, 2x4, that goes around, that sits on the floor, that those legs get screwed into or bolted into, depending on how heavy duty you'd like your box. So you need 2x4s. The other thing you need is plywood. And again, you can get 1/2-inch plywood, 3/4-inch plywood, you can get 1-inch plywood. Again, all depends on how heavy duty you'd like your box to be. The thicker the plywood, the greater chance you've got of it never breaking. If you create your frame correctly that people are sitting on, you could easily do the 1/2-inch plywood all the way around the entire box. So it all depends on how heavy you want to go in construction for this box, for these photo shoots.
What kind of tools would you say somebody would need to have to make these boxes?
You could be as simple as a hand drill, a regular screwdriver, a hammer just to have there just in case you need it, some drill bits to drill some holes depending on the type of wood you're using. Pre-drilling helps prevent cracking in the wood. So a drill, a screwdriver, or a power drill, a power screwdriver, and a hammer. That's what you'll need.
And then you also built me a base so that the box can sit on something so it can be elevated. Do you remember how high the base is?
The base was, I think, 2.5 feet tall.
But I felt like I needed to be higher than that because I felt that it actually wasn't high enough when you first built it because people's legs were dragging down. So I was going to have you build it a little higher, but then we ended up putting wheels on it with casters, and that kind of lifted the box up.
That gave the box another 3.5 inches, 4 inches, yes.
Right. Okay. That's great. So when I have a general guideline that's in the units of this group, and I had written out right after you had built it for me and this is all I'll show you guys afterwards where it is in the units so that you can always refer back to it. It's also in any of my templates. If you've ever bought a template, like a general box template, it always comes with the box template as part of the instructions. So what I had written was the box is 4 by 4 by 2 feet. So it's 2 feet deep. And we bought 4 pieces of plywood at that ratio. The back of the box was 4 by 4, and that I had written the exact dimensions in there that you cut it to. It was like 48 by 49.25 using a 5/8 inch thick plywood. However, you were able to make it work with just a 4 by 4. Right. So actually, you made a platform for me that was using 2 by 4 wood pieces. And we can use screws or nails to attach them together. So there's always a discussion about building the box, making it like what depth it should be. There is no right or wrong when you talk about building a box and the depth. It is really a matter of thinking about, or even the size. So let's just get this straight. First of all, you don't have to have a 4 by 4 by 2 foot box. You could have a 3 foot box. You could have a 2 foot box. You have to think about, what are you using? Like, what's your intention? What are you using the box for? So are you planning on using it for adults? Are you going to have a large group of people in there? And will you have a lot of people, are you going to try and get like groups of 4 or 5 people in there with a lot of adults? Are you going to have, basically, if you're going to have adults, I would say you should definitely have a 4 foot box. If you're going to primarily shoot young children and toddlers, you want to fill the space when you're making those photos. So you can definitely use smaller boxes for a photo shoot that has just animals, pets, toddlers, babies. A smaller box can definitely work also. There are people that have many boxes of many different sizes. So, and I'm going to get into that in a second, but I want to just see, before I let Mr. Belly Jelly Gummy Bear leave our space for a couple of minutes, does anybody have any questions on the actual building process before I just start talking about different types of boxes?
And even before the questions, please know that I had the Home Depot, the 2 by 4, not the 2 by 4s. I had Home Depot cut all the wood to size for me. So when I came home, I didn't have to cut much of anything.
You mean the plywood?
All the plywood, I asked them to cut the 2 by 4s, the size I needed as well, and they did everything for me. Didn't cost me anything extra.
That's a very good tip. So when you're working with like a Home Depot or Lowe's, if you have your dimensions already there, you can have them cut that wood into sizes for you beforehand. And my dog is still barking like a madman right now, and he wasn't barking all day. That kind of day. Okay. So does anyone have any questions before he leaves? All right. So can you stay on call just in case?
A few minutes.
Jelly Gummy Bear, and if you don't mind making the dog stop barking, that'd be so great.
I will go grab him.
Go grab him. Thank you. All right. I'll let you know if we need you back. Okay.
That.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So back to box building. So that's like kind of the overview on how to build a box. I thought maybe it would be good to have him there because he's the one who actually did it. But I'm going to share my screen again and let you see. I'm going to go back to the units really quick. Okay. So here we are. Taking a look here. This is a link to the overview of building and editing the box document. Okay. So in the units, if you scroll down to building the box here, I put the link, I don't know why on that one. You click there and you'll see that this is an updated guideline. It's just in the Dropbox. And if you open it, it's a document that you are more than welcome to download as well. And it gives a lot of like tips and tricks for editing the box, but it also goes through the general guidelines. And remember, this is just how my husband made the box for me. But it doesn't mean it's the only way to do it, but at least it gives you like a little start. So while we're at it, let's talk about sizing again. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. So, whoops, I guess I wasn't sharing all along. Okay. So sizing, you can do the 4x4. You could do a depth of 2 feet, which I put in groups of 4 or 5 people. It's squishy. Okay. It's not that it's not squishy. It's squishy. But you also have to remember that it's not just the size of the box and how many people you're going to get in it, but it's your space. So do you have the space to have a 3 or 4 foot depth box? That's something to take into consideration too. If you have a 4 foot depth box, you may not be able to get that in and out of a door. So will you be building a box and leaving it there for a while and then never taking it apart until maybe you move your studio or something like that? Or will you need to have that box stored somewhere else? If you have the space, you might want to have 3 feet deep, then it gives you a little bit more room. You might want the 4. There are people that have 4 feet. There are people that have 2 feet and it works just fine as well. Believe it or not, 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 is pretty big. And without there being an adult to fill the space, it could seem very sparse. So going into that, we could talk about building the box, about using other kinds of boxes. So IKEA or Target sell IKEA. It's called a Kallax, Kallax, I believe, and that is also in the units. IKEA has a box. It's a shelf unit that people will use, and they won't put the shelves that go inside of it, and they just leave that open, and then they have to put some sort of backing into it, and it's a smaller size box than a lot of people. I think it's only like $35 US, $40, something like that. So it's pretty inexpensive. Whereas the building the box and the materials, I think it cost me about $300. Some people can do it for less. I don't know. Do you find if you have good resources on where to buy plywood and supplies, probably could do it for less. So, but these smaller boxes are much more cost effective. And you can also put, if you have a larger box, you can take the smaller box, you don't have to actually put a back behind it, because you can take your smaller box and put it inside your bigger box. And then you can just pop your kids in there and you can shoot that way. So there are people that have multiple size boxes. Cynthia Russo, she's one of our admins and first people to show me about this concept. She has 2 different box sizes, and she's also, you can see our box demo, which I have in the units also. When I went to visit her, we did a Facebook Live demo. Stacy Raleigh, one of our admins, she must have like 5 boxes by this point. I don't know. I've lost track of how many boxes she has. So, but she's like the queen of boxes and has a lot. So there's a lot of different sizes. And then, of course, you can also make your box portable. I have never done it, but there are people in this group that have and have been so kind to show us their resources on how they've made it portable. So again, I'm going to just share my screen, go back to the units for you. And then you'll see here, blueprints to build the box with the lemon shelf. That was the IKEA shelf. Let's see this. Okay. So this blueprint, this was the, yes, I forgot to mention this. So instead of buying plywood, you can also go to IKEA and you could buy a shelf, and the shelf would be the proper size. And if you see here that this post was posted by, and I don't remember who made this. Oh, Kevin John Twitchett. He was the one who posted this. He had created a blueprint for the group on using the IKEA shelves. Now, this is not a small box. This would be making a larger box, but he was very kind and gave us the blueprints for that. Then here's the Kallax box. Oh, here's Cynthia. So this is the difference between using a 4x4 by 2 foot box and then using the shelving unit, different than this. Okay, this is making a full-size box. This is the Kallax IKEA shelf that you can buy. That's great for toddlers. And somehow Cynthia, because she's very flexible, got herself in there. So you can see how people you don't even need to put a backing on it. You can just pop it inside your box. And we have, and that's that unit. And then we also have blueprints, okay, this is Dan Beecroft. He's a group member and made a blueprint on how to make a customizable, collapsible box so that you could collapse it and then take it with you. And he was very kind. So that is also in the units. So thank you, Dan. He put that in. I mean, he must have made that at the very beginning when we first opened the group. And you will also see that here's a sample of the IKEA Calyx box. I think that was what I just showed you. Okay, so this is a Calyx box, okay? This is the one from IKEA, the one that Cynthia had squished herself into. You just don't use all of these shelves that are in the box. You leave those out, all right? That's how you would use it. Here's a little hyperlapse video of someone building a box, and I believe that we also have some very specific pictures that were just posted recently that I put into the unit. These images here. There we go. And it's not giving me credit on whose post this was. Let's see, but we had a lot of people looking at it. And Barry Goodsoul, he was the one who posted this, was so kind. He just did this last week. I asked him to come on live, but he wasn't free. But thank you so much, Barry, for posting this with the measurements of how he made his box that's collapsible. And in there, you can scroll through and see how wonderful this box is. So we have a lot of great resources here on building. Painting the box, if you decide to go the route of building the box yourself, you want to paint the box, I highly recommend that you do not use glossy paint and don't use flat paint. Flat definitely makes people, as soon as you put a pair of blue jeans into the box, it gets blue jeans all over the place, and you want to be able to wash that off. You also don't want glossy because then you'll end up with a lot of reflections. So satin seems to be the most popular one. And I also recommend that you can use Mr. Clean. I think they're Mr. Clean. They're like sponges that you can buy. I'll try to find a link to it on Amazon and post it. But those work like wonders. So if you need to quick clean your box in between, you can wipe it down with one of those Mr. Clean sponges. And it really gets like most of the dirt off very easily. Okay, so that's pretty much, I think, oh no, you couldn't see what I was doing. So, were you able to see it now? You said you weren't able to see what I was doing at 3:18. Were you able to see when I went back to the units? I hope so. Okay, so anyway, I think I pretty much covered everything about building the box and being able to look in the units. Building the box using different forms of boxes. And of course, the last thing that you could use for a box would be, I have a question, which Calyx box would you recommend for ages 2 to 8? You know, I don't actually own the Calyx box. I don't know if there's different sizes or if it's just one size. No one's ever specified, but I'll Google that and look for it. But I would say, I mean, actually, I'll ask Cynthia. She might, because she bought hers. But the one that Cynthia had would definitely be good for 2 toddlers, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. We should take a look at the dimensions of it. But if you look back at that picture that I showed you with Cynthia inside her little tiny box that was inside the large box, you can see like what a vast difference that would be. I don't think that it would be too big. I mean, the reality is that there's a variety of different sizes. So if you're going to be using it from 2 to 8, 8-year-olds can get kind of big. So you definitely don't want to have something too small for an 8-year-old. It's also fun to get squished inside the box a little bit too. So, I take a quick look at like how tall an 8-year-old gets and think about that in dimension of how large you would want the box. I mean, an 8-year-old probably can do well with just a regular size box as well. So, 44 isn't really that much smaller than the 48-inch box, right? 12, 24, 36, 48. So a 4 foot would be 48. So it's a little bit smaller than the typical size box. So it might not be as good for toddlers, but toddlers go in the big box too. It's just a matter of kind of how you want to do it. When you have a larger box, you also can have some space for the hanging feet that go over it. So when you have kids at the bottom, you try to set it up so that if there's some feet hanging over, that can fill the space a little bit. Any other questions? Okay, so we've got the big box, we've got the calyx box. We have, you can use cardboard boxes. That's pretty popular, very cheap, if not free, and a great way to start. The thing with the cardboard box is that, there's all different shapes and sizes. You could have square, you could have square, you can have rectangles, and it's really just hard to use a template for, but I feel like the boxes, like the cardboard boxes, don't need a template. So you can let IKEA know that I sent you there. No, I'm kidding. I will. What I'll do is after this post is over, because I was trying to figure out a way to do this post and also use the StreamYard so that my husband could come on and talk to him, and then also video my actual box. And so I decided to just kind of do it this way. And then I'll go downstairs, I'll take pictures of my box, including the base, and I will just post them into the comments of this picture, or I'll make a new post and I'll just post pictures of my box and the base, and then I'll add it to the units so that we can have them there. Okay. Any other questions before we go? All right. If you are catching this not live, this little Q&A session, and you want to ask questions, just pop a question into the comments and I'll check back later on. Okay. But yeah, IKEA is a really good way to get started, and I think it's an inexpensive way that most people can do. If you don't have a box already, you're going to want to put some kind of backing on that box, okay? Because you don't want people falling through the back. So you're going to want to paint that to match the white. Any other questions? All right, hope you guys have a good day. Next Q&A that's going to be up is we're going to discuss other features of box building. First one was box building. The next one we're going to do is talk about shooting, taking pictures, and how to get people inside the box, maybe posing, using prompts. Oh, by the way, I'm writing a blog about prompts, and in our group, I have a call for prompts. So if you post, in the comments of my post, you give me a prompt that you use. It could be box or non-box. It's fine, either one. And you put a picture in there that maybe you use the prompt for, and you put a link to your business. I will put you into my blog post with a link back to your business and give you photo credit for the photo if you want me to use the photo. If you put a photo in there, assume I'm going to probably use it into the blog post. But of course, with full photo credit to you and your business. So please do that. And that's all, I think. So, and then I'm saying that this is my first Q&A, and after that Q&A will be the shooting of the box. Then we'll go into some editing strategies. A lot of it I already have resources for in YouTube videos, whether